I'm Angela Lek. I'm currently the Chief Research Officer at the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Now, we're always covering the cutting edge topics, what's important to have conversations around, not just the readouts for clinical trials, but the really exciting technologies that are emerging around the corner. So just off the top of my head, we have sessions on muscle regeneration and repair strategies, looking at ways to, because muscle regeneration and repair is a cross-cutting topic that applies to many of the diseases that MDA covers. So any strategies pertaining to the improvement of muscle regeneration and repair would be relevant to many diseases. So we want to make sure that we have a lot of conversations around that and looking at, we saw some presentations exploring ways to enhance the way muscles repair in response to injury. And how to also regenerate muscles that have been lost to disease using cell therapy approaches. Today, in the Lab to Live sessions, we spotlighted several diseases. Each year, so MDA covers over 300 distinct neuromuscular conditions, and each year we choose to spotlight a handful of diseases. This year, just to name a few, there was a special session on limb-girdle muscular dystrophy. There was a session on titanopathies, infantile-onset forms of muscular dystrophies, and then I think autoimmune neuromuscular conditions. So in those sessions, it's usually a mix of topics of clinical and also what's happening in terms of like the latest research and discoveries around those diseases. There were two sessions on ALS, genetics, and also the translational research efforts going on there. There was also a session this morning on covering immune responses to gene therapy, which is a very important and timely topic. Gene therapies have now been approved for neuromuscular diseases, Zolgensma, Elevidys, and more coming in the pipeline. And we need to have more conversations about how to deliver them safely and minimize any adverse reactions to patients. So the scientists presented deep mechanistic studies to look at how immune responses are triggered in response to gene therapy and ideas, exploring new ideas on how to mitigate those responses. And then one I'm particularly excited about is later on today on non-viral delivery vehicles for genetic medicine. We had this topic, the same session topic, I would say a couple years back or 3 years back maybe at our conference, but I feel like so much has happened and so much progress has happened in the area of non-viral delivery. We have clinical trials. A lot of them are close to clinical trials, I believe. And just to have options to deliver genetic medicines systemically using non-viral approaches is very exciting because it opens the door to redosing efforts and potentially reducing immune responses. And and then let me think what else. And also, tomorrow's session, we've got 3 sort of tracks. In one room, we'll have the updates on the clinical trials, which includes the last session on late breakers, which are really hot off the press, clinical trial results from companies that are in the neuromuscular disease space. And we also have parallel sessions on when looking at the molecular mechanisms of disease. That's for the basic research scientists. And then we have a session on translational research also. So looking at translating the molecular mechanisms into drugs and therapeutic approaches, but still in preclinical stages. So there's something for everyone, hopefully, at this conference. We have many different stakeholders here, clinicians, researchers, industry, allied health professionals, and so we like to cater to all of them with topics that are, important and timely to discuss. So we've been getting a lot of really good feedback about the topic coverage this year. So we're really pleased about that, and we rely on our medical advisors and our research advisory committee and some board members to let us know ahead of time what topics would be important to cover at our conference and to have conversations around. So I think we've done a good job at doing that. And then, I don't know if you were around on Monday for the opening. Yeah, we had John Crowley, CEO of Bio, who touched on just hurdles to drug development in terms of regulatory paths and also access to drugs for rare diseases. So those are really important and timely topics, and it's of particular interest to MDA because, as I mentioned, MDA covers over 300 distinct neuromuscular conditions, the majority of which are ultra-rare, meaning that there's less than 1,000 affected patients for one particular disease. Only about 10 of them are commercially viable. The rest are sort of fall in the ultra-rare bucket. So yeah, sometimes the technology is there to pursue therapies, but just the economic landscape doesn't support their development. There is also a topic, a session later today about looking at factors that influence drug development that's beyond the science, so regulatory aspects and also the drug development, the investor space and the current environment surrounding those two particular areas today. Oh yeah, and of course, I want to talk about a session that covers next generation patient registries, because that's chaired by a member of my research team, Andre Paredes, who is the senior data analyst on our patient registry team. Our patient registry is called Mover, and he'll be talking about a pilot study that we're currently embarking on to transition from clinic-entered data at our care centers to extracting electronic medical records directly from patients, consenting patients, and in this manner it becomes decentralized and not dependent on being tied to a particular clinic and data entry. So he'll be talking about our efforts around migrating to the Mover 2.0 platform. So that's another exciting topic. Well, if there are any suggestions for future topics to cover for next year's conference, we're always open. And yeah, please come and join us again next year for another great meeting.